Hello and welcome to the Sustainable Healthcare Podcast. This is the show where we share tools, tactics, and tips for decarbonizing healthcare for professionals that are working in the healthcare industry. My name is Fredrik van Ders. I'm the CEO of Green Innovation Group. We are a management consultancy that is dedicated to the decarbonization of healthcare. And today I have with me Nazneen again. Welcome back to the show, Nazneen. How are you doing?
It's great to be back again.
We talked in our last conversation a little bit, or sort of in the pre-interview, about the work that you're doing in the board of AstraZeneca and as a non-executive and an advisor to many folks in the industry. And I just thought that it would be really great to have your insights of what does the work inside the boardroom actually look like, because there is a lot of mythology around board work and the way it's carried out in practice. And I think it would be great to just have sort of your view in what does it look like? Is it a Tuesday afternoon, and what kind of work is actually carried out at the board level?
Yes, happy to do that. And to be fair, before I became a member of the board, it was opaque to me as well. I mean, one of the things that I used to say is, "Oh, I'm a non-executive, and it's the only job where it's described that I've ever had where it's titled what I don't do, not what I do." So it's sort of quite interesting. So we're not executives, and so I'm on the board of AstraZeneca. AstraZeneca is a public company, so that's different boards. You can have boards of lots of different organisations. One of the interesting things I think about a public company is that what are the responsibilities of the board, the actions of the boards are really clearly outlined, and they have to be disclosed. There's sort of strict aspects around the things that we have to do around governance, and ultimately the board is responsible to the shareholders, and we are sort of responsible for due diligence on that governance, but we don't do the execution. So that's obviously run by the whole management. I suppose in some ways you can think about it a little bit like in many a government system, you will have two houses that are providing different types of roles there. The executive house, and then another sort of governing board that will be providing hopefully a constructive sounding board, but a challenging, constructive challenge board, so that we want to be aware and say the things and raise the issues and talk about the strategy in a way that's really helpful and giving a window into the executive and to be able to deal and make sure that that's doing things rather than the on front page of a page or something like that. So there shouldn't be any surprises, really. If you see something on the front page of a paper and that's the first time you've heard about it, then probably something's not working quite right in these dynamics. But it is a very constructive place, certainly on our board, but it is a place where we want to be challenging. We want to be asking the questions.
And can you walk us through sort of the physical setup? How many people are in the room? How much time does it take? How much time do people spend in preparation? And is it a democratic process, or is there like the chair of the board is the one that's talking and driving the conversation? How does it sort of play out?
So I think that all boards have their own culture, all organisations have their own culture. So there's lots of different ways in which you can do that. The AstraZeneca board is 12 people currently. They're the chair and the CEO and CFO are part of that board, and the other 10 are 9 are people like ourselves, people who are not working for the company that says to have, and we bring different kind of disciplines, and some of them you have to have people who do the audit functions there. Others, like myself, I'm not from a corporate background. I came on board because of my science background initially, and I've been chair of science committee 5 years. So that's a different. Obviously, most boards don't have that because they're not doing science. I think that and not all pharma companies would run their science in the way that we AstraZeneca But I think in this space, science is at the heart of everything that AstraZeneca does, and so having that strategic overview. So we have set board meetings where some of them they used to all be in person. Now some of them are virtual, in person following the pandemic. We have an international board. We have from Hong Kong to California, Europe. So being able to work together. So we have set things. Next week is the annual general meeting. So there's a whole sort of things that happens every time. But I think the other thing the boards do have to respond very quickly to all sorts of things. So during pandemic, for example, there were lots of quick decisions. So there's a lot of papers that so we bots that we prepare ahead of that time. And as I say, are there. We have two roles. The board is to provide due diligence and the things that get signed off, and then, as I say, to provide this strategic engagement, so that as that strategy moves forward, that it given that sort of window. And we've had some evolution. So the sustainability committee at AstraZeneca, something that I chair and driven forward over the last 18 months. So it can be dynamic, and sustainability has always been really important to Pascal CEO. It's to chair Nick, and so it's been strong. It's been wonderful.
So something like the integration with the Sustainable Markets Initiative. Is that something that is decided by the board? Is that pitched by Pascal to the board, or is it pitched by the board to Pascal? Or how does that work?
No, I mean, I think there's something like, certainly we were aware of these different things, and there's lots of things, and we hear about different types of strategies. But I think it has to be, there's freedom for the executive. There are certain things that are in the articles you read above a certain, above a, say, for the Science Committee, above a certain threshold of value, it would come to the Science Committee to review and then go through to the board to have a formal write-up about certain levels. But overall, we're certainly open to be discussing lots of things and we would be happy to talk about anything that the executive would like us to talk about. And certainly both the Science Committee and Sustainability Committee, often that's what, and if those are hard things or challenging things or just thinking, as I say, we want to be a really constructive sounding board and constructively challenging. And we want to ask thoughtful questions. I think as a board member, what's my job, to ask useful questions. That's what I would say would be my main aim there. Questions that are relevant and are going to help to drive forward. That's what I would personally say.
It's also just really, really informative. Everything comes out of your mouth, so I really appreciate that. I know you have a super busy schedule, so thank you so much for taking the time for running this explanation of what a boardroom looks like to our audience. I really enjoyed that, and I have 1,000 questions that I would like to ask you, but maybe I can find time some other day to ask those questions to you in due time. So Nazneen, thank you so much for being on the show and for contributing with your insights, and for doing the work that you're doing. I think it's really, really amazing that you put in yourself and that you have this sort of career trajectory where you're navigating with intention for change. I think that's really awesome and something that we can all take inspiration from.
Thanks very much for having me.
Cool. Cheers.